Hey everybody, Debbie Starr here. So I'm smiling because I was talking away and then I realized I had forgotten to hit the go live button. Has that ever happened to you? Anyway, super happy if you're watching this on live. Make sure that you enable whatever it is, the comments or something, so I can see who's chatting with me. I wanted to talk with you today about a topic that, especially if you're kind of new in the business, you're thinking, well, this doesn't apply to me. And it's all about bringing on not necessarily a team, but bringing on help for you. Now, I had posted in a couple of the Facebook groups this week that if you wanted to get a copy of my SOP framework, that you could raise your hand and I would send it to you. Well, what in the world is an SOP? If you're kind of new to that terminology, basically it just stands for a standard operating procedure. So when you start basically bringing other people into your world, you need some kind of set of directions, right? Now, let me take you back to the beginning. As I was saying, if you're just getting going in your business, if you haven't reached those 2K or 5K months yet, I am sure you're wearing all of the hats, and you might even still be working that job plus trying to do this on the side, right? And I'm sure if you are doing all things, you're feeling burnt out because there's only so many hours in the day and you keep thinking I'll work faster and harder and all of that kind of stuff. And until you hit a certain income level, I'm sure you're thinking, well, I can't afford to hire someone. I was in that place myself. So you put it off, and you think, well, when I get to a certain level, the reason I wanted to do this training for you is the thinking is backwards. Okay. So stick with me today because I'm going to talk about not only why you should start either outsourcing or finding somebody to help you with little pieces of your business. And I've got some tricks and secrets. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Once you start doing that, I know you're not going to believe me, but once you actually start having other people help you in your business, then you are going to see your revenue increase. You don't want to do it the other way. Trust me. Because what happens is it buys you more leverage, it buys you more time, and it allows you to really sink into what you are good at. Now, let me ask you a question. What is your hourly rate? You can put it in the chat or just write it on a piece of paper. If you don't know, flag number one, you need to figure out what is your hourly rate. And you can do a ballpark, and don't worry, it doesn't have to be a huge amount, but I want you to put a price tag on it. And again, if you're just starting out, I don't care. I don't want to see any $20 an hour, okay? Because you can go back and get a job, right? So put a figure. So let's just start out with, let's say $100 an hour, $150 an hour. My going rate is around $250 an hour. How much do you think it would cost you to hire somebody to create that little ebook that you just spent 5 hours on? All right. So let's just take the $100 an hour rate. If that's you and you spent 5 hours, that ebook just cost you $500. Is it worth it? I don't think so. What could you do with your 5 hours of time? Why not spend that time working with one of your clients or teaching or building, your program, things like that. When you start shifting into what I call the CEO mindset of your business, you're going to think, wait a minute, is it worth my time to be doing this? Now, I know right away you're thinking, yeah, but I can't afford it. Yes, you can. You can. It is amazing. If you spent even $20 a week having somebody do one little piece of your business, how much is that going to buy you back in time and also in revenue? So when I first started, the very first little VA project that I had was I always recycle all of my videos and stuff. So the it was a pretty set process. I would create the video, I would upload it to YouTube. Now, let me say this as we're talking about the CEO mindset, there's a lot of things that I enjoy doing. And I would love getting on Canva all day long. It's like going to kindergarten again. I love all that creativity and playing and all of that kind of stuff. Is it a money making activity for me? Absolutely not. And at the end of the day, I have to admit, I think I do a pretty good job, but there's other people that do a much better job. So going back to the very first little job that I looked at my business and I thought, okay, what can I do to get somebody to help me with pieces of my business? First thing you want to do is look at number one, the things you're not good at, the things that take a long time. So, I mean, I build funnels for people. I teach people how to create funnels. Now, here's the deal. If you kind of enjoy the techie stuff, but if it's going to take you 20 hours and you could outsource it and somebody could do it in 5 hours, doesn't that make more sense? If you want a hobby, do it on the weekend and create a little funnel with your child. So I think you understand what I'm saying here. So I looked at, okay, what is my process for my YouTube videos? Well, I have to upload the video. And then one little piece was creating a thumbnail and then uploading that thumbnail, doing the keyword research, all of that kind of stuff. And I thought, I don't really enjoy it. So that's a second thing. So where's your skill set? Do you enjoy it? And is it a money making activity? That is key. All right. So me playing on Canva for 2 hours, me uploading all this stuff, doing the keyword research, that's not making me money. In the long run, my YouTube channel could be, but you get what I'm saying? So that was the first job that I outsourced. And here is the secret. And I'm going to go through this little wireframe with you in a minute, so give you a better handle. What I did was I contacted an agency. I was very specific as far as what I was looking for. So I gave them a task of create 4 or 5 different types of YouTube thumbnail templates. So that, because sometimes it's hard to explain what you're looking for. So they did that. They came back and they gave me, the examples. And then from there, I could tell them specifically what I liked, what I didn't. Well, I like how this text looks. I like the placement of this, etc. And then the next piece of the project was I gave them a trial run and I said, okay, I just uploaded one of my YouTube videos. Create a cover, because I wanted each cover to be different, but similar look and feel, right? Create the cover, do the keyword research, et cetera, et cetera. So they went off, they did that job. That was great. And we continued to refine the process. So now we have a very streamlined process. Whenever I create a new YouTube video, I upload it. I even have a process of how I contact them, and boom, we're off and running. I never have to worry about that again. Now I've built in little system checks, every now and then I'll check the quality and things like that, but it is a smooth, seamless process. And I can't tell you the amount of pressure was off my shoulders knowing that I don't have to do that anymore. And it really does, because I try to do it once a week. It really does free up about, I don't know, at one time I was probably spending 5 hours doing all this stuff. Okay. So that's just an idea to give you. Now, let me, if I can figure this out, let me share my screen here and I'm going to talk about this little framework. So let's see if it will let me share. It's probably, I've been having trouble with Chrome. Okay, so let's see here. Show on this. So far, so good. I think it's going to work. Nope. Let's find, what did I do with, okay, let me come back here real quick. What did I do with my PDF? All right, well, just follow along here. Let me just open it up again. I thought I had it. You can have a sneak peek behind my Google Drive. Are you using folders in your Google Drive? And are you using colors? And do you have a system for everything? You know me, systems is what keeps us in our business. All right, now can you see this? Let me update my screen here. Okay, I think we're good to go here. So I'm just calling this the SOP. Remember, the standard operating procedure. So how do you use this? Let me make this bigger so you can see it. The first thing is, this is kind of the 10,000 foot view. So what I mean by that is, when you're thinking about something to outsource to somebody else, then think about these 4 quads. The what. What is it? So in my example, it was this YouTube little process whenever I created a new YouTube video. Why? When you think about the why, not only why do you need this process created, but also the whys of who needs this? How are they going to use this information? So when you think higher level, it will help you when you're mapping out what needs to be done. Okay. And then the how are the exact steps to do that process. And then the now, in other words, what do they need to do? What's the first step? So remember when I said, when I contacted the agency to help me create my YouTube thumbnails, well, I just didn't say go create the thumbnails. The first step that I needed them to do was we needed to decide on a template. So I gave them a little mini project. That was the first step. And then from there, it went into other things. All right. So if you're watching this live, let me know in the comments if this is making sense. Now let's dig into how you're going to use this little wireframe. So the big picture, whenever I work with my clients and when I talk about the CEO mindset, I'm always talking about, think of departments in your business, in your company. If you came from the corporate world, you're very familiar with this. There's the HR department, the finance department, the marketing department, the sales department, all of that kind of stuff, right? So when you're thinking about the task in your business, I want you to start thinking about departments. And there's a theme to this because all of my, how I file my documents, how I name them, all of that kind of stuff goes along with the same theme. So a marketing activity, one of my marketing activities is posting videos, and part of that marketing activity is creating the thumbnail, the image, the branding that goes with it, all of that kind of stuff. So if I am using this worksheet, the first thing is I would decide, okay, which which department is this falling into? And then create categories. So again, for me, it was very clear. This is strictly just an activity that happens in my YouTube. It's a marketing activity under my YouTube. I have a VA team that does my social media for my Instagram. That would be a different category. Okay. And then the purpose. What's the purpose of this task? All right. So again, the YouTube it finishes the production stream, so to speak, of everything that happens once I create a video. And then you start digging into the specific task. Okay, it's not just creating the video, we create the video. Then we've got our little show notes. we've got the cover image, we've got the keyword research, we've got some of the text that goes into the description. Then we go and we share it to LinkedIn, all of that kind of stuff. So you just kind of start brainstorming all of those tasks. And then the next piece of this framework is what I call the who, what, and when. The who is who will need this SOP. Now, what I want you to think about is when you think about who is going to use this document that's being created, depending on who it is, they're coming from a different place. So if we create a standard operating procedure on how to create my YouTube thumbnail images, who will be looking at that SOP? It's probably a team member or my VA agency, whatever it is. Maybe you're coming up with the process when you're getting ready to onboard a new client. Well, who needs to know what those steps are? Sometimes you'll be creating kind of like a mini SOP for a client. Okay, this is the first thing you do, this is the second thing, and so forth. All right. So you create who's going to be using it, and then the what. And I recommend that you name this task. And the reason is when you're consistent on your naming, then there's never any confusion. So if I call this my YouTube thumbnail creation, if I make reference to that in an email or on a Trello board comment, whatever, everybody's on the same page. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Versus if I call it my YouTube process one day and my YouTube marketing steps the next day, do you see how the confusion can go in? And then the when. When does this task get completed? Before, after, during? So again, after the process I go ahead and just upload the video. So after the video has been uploaded, not created, but uploaded for my process, then that's when that task needs to start. And then I call this the when what. So then you add the specifics of after the when. So if I was explaining this to somebody, I would be saying, okay, after, so that's the when, after I upload the video to YouTube, then, so it's kind of like the if then, I need you to create the Canva thumbnail image. Okay. And then the trigger, how do people know when this workflow should start? And again, you just need to identify that. Are they tagged in the Trello board? If you upload it maybe to maybe they have a shared Google Drive. Do you email them? With my team, we have an Airtable sheet, and I just drop the note on there. They're notified, then they know to start working. Okay, so that's how you use the who, what, and when. Now, the next sheet is how do you define success? This is super important because when people start working with a team, a VA, an outside person, number one, you're thinking, okay, I have to train and retrain, and then I just have to turn around and do it myself because they're not doing it the right way. Well, people can't read your mind, right? So you need to come up with a definition of success. How do you define success? And how do you know when it was completed? Okay, so here I'm just saying how do I define the success on this example? The success is, one, they've created the thumbnail using the templates that we've already approved. They've updated a spreadsheet that I use to keep track. They've marked that task as completed. So if I went back to check their work, so to speak, Yep. They did all of that. So the job was successful. If I find myself wanting to micromanage, in other words, if I get in there and I say, well, I don't really like that font, or I think you need to use a different image. Hold on. That indicates that you need to go back to the drawing table and decide once again on what those benchmarks are. I have already decided, given approval on what type of templates, and then I'm giving them the autonomy to go and create it. As long as they're using that same style of template, I'm not going to go back in and micromanage. That is critical. And I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if it does. And then how do you end the task? In other words, how does everybody know this task is done? We can put it to bed. Again, come up with a little process so everybody on board knows it's done. And if nothing else, it helps you sleep at night. Because when you're first having other people help you in your business, you have that tendency of wanting to micromanage, and then you're worrying, well, did they do that? Do I need to go back and check? So the end of the process is, how is it indicated that the task is done? Okay. I hope this is making sense. Then the next sheet here is identifying the major task steps. Now, let me say this. The tendency is people try to take a huge job, and then all of a sudden there's like 100 steps, and that's way too much. So when you're looking at your business and you're trying to decide what is like one job that I can outsource, instead of saying, okay, I want somebody to do all my social media marketing. I mean, that's a huge job. And again, if you have the big bucks, go for it. But most people starting out, they don't. So I want you to identify one tiny sliver of jobs. And then once that little piece is well oiled, you can add a second little sliver and so forth. Okay. So again, the example I keep using is not doing everything with my YouTube videos, but creating the YouTube cover image and the hashtags. All right. So for creating the cover, the starting point would be when a new video is uploaded to YouTube and the team, they're tagged on the spreadsheet. That's their starting point. Step one, they look at the title, they start doing the keyword research. Step two, they go to Canva, etc. All right. So is that making sense what I'm saying? So let me come back here and come back to you full screen. All right. So that is basically in a nutshell how you can start scaling your business by bringing on, and when I say bringing on a team member, I don't mean hiring somebody. There's lots of VA agencies out there where you're not required to spend 20 hours a week or a month or anything. There's a lot of really good agencies that work inexpensively compared to, again, if your rate is $100 an hour and somebody can do it for 10 or 15 or $20, see, you get 5 times more work based on those tasks that other people can do. And then you can focus on delivering your genius expertise to people. One other tip that this is kind of turning into a masterclass. So get your popcorn if you're watching this on replay. So one other key secret that I'm going to share with you, and lean in because this is priceless. When you think about hiring somebody, the first objection that comes up is people say, well, I don't have the time. It's going to take so much time to train them. And then what if they quit? Or what if the staff changes? How am I going to handle that? Use this wireframe that I've given you and start sketching it out. And then have your person start to add to it. So you'll kind of have this big picture, and then they'll go away, they'll do some work, you'll look at it. So the first couple of times is the refining, right? And then what you do is you assign them the task of documenting all the steps. This is really important also because we're in our genius zone. And let me use technology again. My biggest pet peeve, I'm a tech geek, right? Most people aren't. And most people can't keep up with, somebody's demonstrating something and their mouse is flying all over the place and you have no idea where they've started. Because I've taught technology for years and years, I like to, number one, always give them a starting point. So I will say something like, from the top right menu, click the file button, go down, click the print, click this, click that. Now, if you know how to print a document or whatever it was, you think, well, yeah, I get it. But you would be surprised how so many people, and let me know in the comments if this has happened to you, you feel like you're kind of in the middle of the stream. People start talking and you say, wait a minute, how did you get there? I don't even know how to get there. So when you have your VA or your team member kind of rewrite the directions, you'll be able to see from their perspective, from a new person's perspective, and then you can identify the gaps. And again, maybe they're pretty techie and they know exactly, or, they know how to get onto Canva, but we always want to write to the lowest denominator. So if you brought in a new team member tomorrow, would they know how to log in to Canva? Would they know where those templates are located? Do they understand how you name the templates that you're creating? So do you see what I'm saying? But the beauty is when you assign this task to continue to flesh out your SOP, it's going to be more useful and you're not spending your time reinventing the wheel. And now here is the final tip. Then train your VA on how to use something like Loom and create a mini training video. So the people that are in the trenches are creating the training. They're fleshing out the documentation. You're reviewing it. You're seeing if it makes sense. And then you've got these SOPs that you're building. So we've covered a lot today. So thanks for hanging with me. Let me just go back to the beginning. If you want to scale your business, don't wait till you're making a bunch of money before you start hiring people. Do it right away. If you have $50 or $100, even going on Fiverr or Freelancer, some of these places, I want you to identify some small task that you can outsource. And once you do it, you're going to say, why didn't I do this before? Because it's truly then that you'll be able to start scaling your business when you bring on people to help you so that you can stay in the CEO seat of your business and be able to deliver all the goodies, the goodness to help other people. So I hope that makes sense. If you haven't gotten the wireframe, just reach out. I'll make sure that you get it. And as always, thank you for watching. Oh, I do see that there's a couple of comments. I don't know if they're still on or not. Somebody commented about a great comment about the CEO of your business. What is your time worth? Yes. And do me a favor, write it on a piece of paper, stick it on your computer. So then when you're playing in Canva for 5 hours, at the end of the day, I want you just to look and say, oh, I just spent $500 of my own money making that ebook. And then the second question I see here, who prepares ebooks? I have a lot of great resources. So again, just reach out and I can help you with that. All right. Have a fabulous day and I'll talk to you at the next time. And oh, by the way, if you happen to watch this on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. All right. Because I'd love to grow my channel and deliver more awesome goodness over there. All right. Take care, everybody.